Hi, it's Adrienne Oliver with Remax Universal coming to you today to talk to you about Farm and Ranch. So, a lot of you know that I do single family homes, I buy and sell them. A lot of you know that I represent landlords. I've talked about various different types of business that I do, but I wanted to let everybody know that I actually also do farm and ranch. This is actually how I kind of grew up. I grew up outside of San Antonio on some property, so I'm very familiar with farm and ranch from my childhood, but I think due to coronavirus, I have done like 4 of these in the last month. So I've had a huge run on farm and ranch. Farm and ranch is a different types of property. So it's usually acreage. It can be semi-raw or it can have buildings on it. So I wanted to kind of give you the 411 on farm and ranch and let you know that I can help you. So I've done farm and ranch in Austin County, Colorado County, Waller County, Liberty County, all of those counties outside of like what we consider like the Houston metro. So when you have farm and ranch, it's a completely different contract and process. So you have to find a lender that works with you. I happen to have several lenders that I've worked with who will write farm and ranch. It's not something you can go to your everyday mortgage company and get. A lot of times you're looking at a local bank. I have some of those banking relationships in varying counties. So that's awesome to know. They also include items that you normally wouldn't see in a single family or multiple family or other types of contract, right? So there's actually things in this contract that convey that's very important for you to know about, right? Because we use farm and ranch property differently than we use any other type of property, right? So one of the things is like portable buildings. Does it have a shed? Does it have, a place for your tractor? Those type of things. Hunting blinds. So a lot of farm and ranch is used also for hunting. So there is that as well. Game feeders. So again, a lot of this will be leased out for hunting season. So if there's game feeders on there, you don't put it in your contract, they can take them and sell them. So it's important to include them. Livestock feeders and troughs, so any type of additional equipment for that. Irrigation equipment, so this has to a lot of times do with like farms themselves. So you have an irrigation system in order to water the crops. Those things have huge amounts of value to them, right? So it's very important that they're included. Fuel tanks, submersible pumps, pressure tanks, corrals, gates, chutes, etc. There's also another button on there. So some of the things that I've been including lately have been like an electric RV hookup, right? Because they used to have an RV on the property, things of that nature. So the other thing that you have to determine with farm and ranch is crops. So the way that the contract reads is, unless otherwise agreed in writing, the seller has the rights to harvest all growing crops until delivery or possession of the property. Which means that if you're buying acreage and they grow corn or sorghum or rice, those are all things that are grown locally here in Texas, they can harvest them up to the time of sale. So if you're thinking you're gonna buy, this corn, then you have to negotiate that. By the same token, if you're selling property and you've already gone through all of the planting, that's something that you would probably want to negotiate opposite, right? You've done all the planting, you've done all the labor, you would want to come up with a division of the sale of that crop, right? You have the sales price, all of that stuff is pretty normal. The only thing that's actually different is I would always get a survey of property that you're buying this way. Always, always, always get a new one, because you can adjust it if the land is not exactly what you wanted it to be. So if there's a variance of 10% or less, it automatically adjusts to one of the prices, either the cash down or one of the prices it adjusts. So surveys are very important in farm and ranch. It's also important to know who or what title company held the title, because a lot of these smaller town companies, they kind of have followed this property for hundreds of years. So it's very important. You get these little small town title companies, usually work about 9 to 4. So we have to make sure that we deliver everything properly and all of those things. There's not a whole lot of rush. So things move very quickly in the Houston metro. When you're doing farm and ranch, what I like to tell my clients is to pack your patience, right? So you look at survey, you look at all of those things, you look at allowances. So what are the things that you want to do with the property? Those are very important. I have another farm and ranch contract right now that's cash. This particular one, he wants to be able to put a mobile home on it. So we have to make sure that there's no restrictions or easements or anything about where he wants to put the mobile home. So you have to think about the use of the property that you want, right? So those are important things to do. So you also look at oil rights. Most people in Texas retain their oil rights at this point. You don't really get a whole lot of oil rights, but it's sometimes nice to see what you can get. So if they have anything, you should generally ask for them. You negotiate repairs the way that they usually do. The other thing that's very important with farm and ranch when you're purchasing is to figure out what exemptions they have and what needs to be held in place in order to keep those exemptions. So if you look at property, they can both be farm and ranch. One can have an exemption and the taxes are hundreds of dollars a year. One cannot have an exemption and it's thousands. So it makes a difference when you're looking to purchase a property because you have taxes. Ag exemptions can be as easy as letting your next door neighbor's cattle roam on your property. So they don't have to be labor intensive. You don't all of a sudden have to be a cattleman, but you can do that. So that's pretty much just some items that you need to know about farm and ranch. If you have any specific items about farm and ranch, I'd love to be your resource. My name is Adrienne Oliver and I'm with RE/MAX Universal. Make it a great day.